Hi everyone, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Mata Di. India was the first country to start shipping in this whole civilization around 6,300 years back. That was in 4000 BC. And the biggest reason that I can say so is not only because of history, but amongst all the five oceans, there is only one ocean which is named after a country, and that is Indian Ocean. Do you know in which country or in which city the first shipyard was built? Any idea? The first shipyard, a place where ships are made, built, or even prepared, was in India itself, in a city called Lothal in Gujarat. That was around 2400 BC. Today we talk about merchant navy and Indian navy. But years back, there was only one thing, that was shipping, through which the goods were transported, imported, exported, and also it was used for defense of a country as well. But do you know the first country or the ruler who separated merchant navy from the defense navy? No. Well, the answer is over here. In 321 to 297 BC, Chandragupta Maurya was the first ruler in the whole world in the history to make merchant navy different from the defense navy. So I would say he was the first one to say merchant navy and Indian navy. From 9th century AD to 13th century AD, in the southern India, there was a big change happening. The Cholas, they were building their own navy and going from strength to strength. For those 400 years, Indian navy was growing like anything. So during the reign of Cholas, towards the end of 9th century, southern India had developed extensive maritime and commercial activity, especially with the Chinese and the Arabs. Chola navies invaded and conquered Srivijaya, yes, today known as Indonesia. At that time, they had the largest empire in maritime Southeast Asia. Goods and ideas from India began to play a major role in the Indianization of the wider world from this period. The Cholas excelled in foreign trade and maritime activity, extending their influence over the seas to China and Southeast Asia. So from here, this region, they captured this region and they went all the way to China as well. Marco Polo says that Indian ships during those times were so strong that they could last even 100 years. Those times ships were so huge that they could carry 150 to 200 to even 300 crew people. When Chinese Admiral Cheng Ho came to India in around 14th century AD, and when he compared the size of Indian ships with those that of Chinese ships, he said the Chinese ships look like midgets. They're very small as compared to Indian ships. During those times, Indian ships would carry up to 700 people. Today, as Indians, we look up to China in shipping industry, shipyards, everything. But till 14th century AD, the Chinese were looking up to us. Even till Akbar's time, that is in around 15th to 16th century AD, it is mentioned clearly in Ain-e-Akbari that our shipping industry was flourishing like anything. I'll just say, as many as 40,000 Indian ships are recorded and known to have been plying in and around the Indian Ocean during Emperor Akbar's time. 40,000 ships till 16th century AD. Then what happened? What went wrong? That our shipping industry, which was the best in the world, just went down. Let's see. In around 16th century AD, East India Company came into existence and they saw something, and that was a ship called Darya Daulat, which was built up in Bhavnagar in Gujarat. And they saw that the ship was around 87 years old and still was in a very good shape. So that tells the excellence of Indian shipping during those times. The famous British Act of Navigation of 1651 was the first step to start ensuring that the British shipping starts flourishing and Indian shipping starts go down. How? The first rule made was any goods that are imported into the country will come from the ships built in Britain, and also the crew should be from Britain itself. Let me put it this way. No goods whatsoever of the growth, produce or manufacture of Asia, Africa or America should be imported into England or Ireland or any of the plantations, except, I'll just show you over here, except directly in ships belonging to English subjects, of which the master and the greater number of the crew were Englishmen. So even the crew has to be English and the ships have to be built in England. So that was the step number 1. Let's go ahead. By order of the Governor General in Council, Fort William, in around 1789, he published a notice, and that was, all persons whosoever are prohibited from making use of or construction of boats of particular denominations and dimensions after 1st March next. That is in 1789 they said. Now the attack was on shipbuilding. So ships of particular size, say ships which had more than 10 oars, could not be built anymore. So that was one thing. And it was just not given an order. With this order came the consequences. And those consequences were, just check over here. Any zamindar allowing any boats of the foreign going descriptions to be built or repaired within the limits of zamindari, to be built or even repaired within the limits of his zamindari, shall forfeit to government the village in which such boats shall be proved to have been so built or repaired. So the first thing was, any zamindar who is the landowner allows ship building or ship repairing in his village, that whole village is going to be confiscated or forfeited by the British government. Not just that, any carpenter, blacksmith or other artificer engaging or employed in building or repairing of boats of the description above are specified shall be committed to close imprisonment in the Faujdari jail for any period not above 1 month, or suffer corporal punishment not exceeding 20 strokes with a ratan. What does that mean? Not only zamindars' land will be confiscated, but all those people who are helping build that ship or even repair that, carpenter, blacksmith, they will either get into jail or they will have a corporal punishment of 20 strokes, कौड़े जिसे कहा जाता है, and also with monetary issues. Ratan will be given. Now this is important, guys. Historically, around 102 Indian shipping companies registered in India between 1860 to 1925. 102 Indian shipping companies registered. Around 40 crores of investment was made, and it was all forced into liquidation by the British one by one. Everything was tried just to make sure that the Indian shipping does not flourish. Now this stats is going to change your mind forever. Till 1857, India had around 34,286 ships with approximately 12,19,958 tons. And within 43 years, from 1857 to 1900 over here, the ships left were just 1676. From 34,286 ships, we came just down to 1676 ships. Can you imagine? Mahatma Gandhi himself said that Indian shipping had to perish so that British shipping flourishes. So with this video, there is just one thing that I want to put across to every sailor or every person who wants to become a sailor in Merchant Navy out there. Please in comment section, do let know where do you feel that we as Indians can do well. Do complain about DD shipping where they can do better. Do complain about shipping companies where they can do better. But also do complain about you as well, that where you can do better as a sailor, so that we all can improve and become better. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Mata Di.